Welcome back to the stock portfolio update videos. Currently, my two stock portfolios sit at a combined value of just over $113,000. That's made up of the just under $60,000 in my stake portfolio and then the $53,000 in my Vanguard portfolio. Between the two of them, nothing's changed since my last video last week, but there has been a tiny little downturn in the market in the last day. As you can see, my stake portfolio is down around 1%, or basically $600, and then my Vanguard account is down a little bit as well. Overall, this kind of has just shown the risk of FX as well, which is what I'll touch on with foreign exchange, having two portfolios in different dollar denominations. So I will touch on that today. If we have a look at my holdings, you can see nothing's changed, just things are down quite big today, like such as Apple. Apple's pretty down 3%, 1.4% on Google, but that has had a recent bounce back. So even if we look at the last week for the stock, it is still up 2% and did reach highs of around $176 a share. So it did bounce up and it is slowly kind of tracking back down, but we can speak on that a bit more later. Overall, if we have a look at the S&P 500, which just tracks the biggest companies in America, it's up around 7.5% in the last month, so it's been a great month in terms of bouncing back. And it did reach highs of around 545, and it's slowly kind of traded down. But this is my biggest position in this portfolio, and I'm sitting at around 26.5% in the green, and that's with around 17,475 USD invested. So if we have a look at my Vanguard portfolio as well, nothing's changed here as well. So VLC, which tracks the Australian large companies, 20 of the largest, is sitting at around $82, nearly $83 a share. And I have 126 shares of that investment. So that's sitting at around $10,400. The goal is to keep this around 10,000, so I could potentially sell some of it, but I'm planning on using this money towards a deposit as well, potentially for a house, just to kind of support. On the other side, you can see below it is VGS, so that's Vanguard's International Shares ETF, and that's sitting at around $137 a share. This ETF tracks globally, so 1,500 companies across multiple countries, with a heavy exposure as well to the US and large companies. So because I can't invest in VOO in this portfolio, I am investing in VGS as it's the closest option, and I have around 311 shares, or just close to $43,000 invested, taking my total portfolio value over $53,000 as I make my way to $55,000 invested in this Vanguard portfolio. Overall, not much has changed since the last video, like I mentioned, but today I wanted to kind of just give a little bit of an update, hold myself accountable, keep doing these videos each week, and then I also wanted to touch briefly on the effect of foreign exchange on my accounts. So as you can see, one of my portfolios is in USD and the other one is in Australian dollars. So whenever I do deposits into my stake portfolio, I have to change that money from AUD to USD. And there was times end of last year where I could get around 70 cents. It dropped all the way down to 60 cents, 61 cents, and now it's kind of made its way back up around to 64 cents. But yeah, there were times even earlier where I could get 77 cents for the dollar pretty much. So really, it was a lot stronger then. So the foreign exchange has really fallen off. There is typically a flock to quality. So reserve currencies like the US, USD does typically rally when there's a bit of conflict, but yeah, so it's something I've been exposed to across this portfolio, and it's something I've been learning more about, doing some courses on, have exposure to it through my studies as well, studying finance and economics. But yeah, you can just kind of see the effect it has on my portfolio. So obviously when that value of the AUD goes down, that can kind of prop up my portfolio a little bit when it converts back to AUD. But as things kind of level out, it kind of gives a bit more of an accurate representation. Overall, we can also look at my Excel spreadsheet, just kind of how my portfolio weighting is looking at the moment. You can see my American portfolio, obviously nothing's changed in the two, still sitting the exact same way. I do want to get this VOO position of 50%, so I do need to get a bit more money in there. The only other problem I'm experiencing now is I am looking at booking a holiday for this year. I haven't done anything this year, so potentially in September or so, travel overseas. So I will be allocating a bit of funds to that, but you do need to have a balance. I can't just invest every single dollar I get. It's not healthy. You need to find a balance between enjoying life and then looking forward and investing in your future. In my Australian portfolio, things are looking good. 80-20 split. I'm quite happy with that. Potentially sell out of that 20% eventually, but for the moment I'm holding on to it. Obviously this hasn't been updated, but you can see no matter what, I'm going to have a big month in terms of gains this month. My Vanguard portfolio is up around 3,000, and so is my stake portfolio. So it's been a very good month for investing, and you can see it just on these graphs, just the power of consistently dollar cost averaging. And now my portfolio is more affected by market movements than ever. As it gets bigger and bigger, I can't just rely on deposits. I actually have to rely on my investments long term. And that's why it's kind of teaching me again to keep a long-term outlook. So you can have a down month or a few down months, but if you keep investing in quality companies over the long term, you should be able to generate alpha. You should be able to generate positive returns. Maybe you can't beat out on the market. It is tough to beat the market over a long period of time. Even some of the best fund managers can't do it. So that's why I keep a lot of my exposure into ETFs. Around 70% of my portfolio is invested into ETFs. Next, we can look at my dividends. So again, I haven't updated this yet, but there won't be a very big month for dividends. It'll be pretty flat. But I'm slowly making my way towards that 1,500, 2,000 kind of goal for this year. And if I just keep doing the right things, keep investing, I should be able to get it as I continue to grow my share allocation in dividend paying stocks. And I can kind of get that snowball working for me. Overall, if I am going to be investing this week, which I might invest a little bit, let's say $500, I will be putting it into my Vanguard portfolio, and I'll be putting it into VGS as I look to build this portfolio position up to $50,000. So potentially a $500 deposit in next week into this ETF. So not a very big one, but like I said, I'm saving up for a house. I'm also saving up for this travel. So there's some other things where my money's going other than just my stock portfolio at the moment. And I have been very focused towards this portfolio over the years, so it is good to diversify and again enjoy moments of your life, because you never know what can happen to you in the future. There's no point in saving all your money and then dying with a bunch of money. You should spread it out a little bit, in my opinion, and you should be enjoying your life as you travel along. But and that's one of the joys of investing. Hopefully investing this money and getting these returns will mean in the long term that I have extra money where I don't have as much financial pressure on myself. That's my goal with investing, is to just become a bit more comfortable. And I think that's what investing can do for you. It can do for anyone. If you kind of have a long enough outlook and you do the right things of dollar cost averaging into quality positions. Again, this isn't financial advice, so you need to look at wherever you want to invest your money. But that's kind of one of my goals with my portfolio. This was just a bit of a quicker video, just kind of giving a bit of an update on how things are looking. But feel free to share how your portfolios are doing. Not much has changed for me personally, but I just kind of wanted to touch on the effects of foreign exchange and that risk that you can have in portfolios, especially if you're a domestic investor investing internationally, and what it can kind of do for your returns as well. So feel free to share how you're doing, and thank you for watching.